Welcome to another episode of Crystal One on One. We are filming from Le Chateau Brasserie Belge, and today I am here with Marcus Kwikiriza. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Is it really true that someone told you you had a face for radio?
Yes.
Do you remember who told you that?
Damn it.
What?
It was a guy. It was a guy in Kenya. It was a guy in Kenya. I think it was about 2005, 2006. And the guy said, yeah, you have a face for radio.
Wow.
Yeah.
He didn't like you much,
No,
I think.
no.
Huh? What did you do to him?
Nothing. Nothing, because... Yeah, I
How
figured...
did you handle that?
There's nothing you can do. But you see, at the time, first of all, I was trying to understand the Kenyan market. I was trying to say, okay, is he serious? Is just trying to be funny? And then it sort of did its rounds. So I figured I'm going to take the good side out of it. And he has, in his own way, made me slightly more famous than I was. So hey, take the positive from it and move on.
That's the way to go,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So Marcus,
Yes, darling.
were you born here in Uganda? Because your first school was in Mombasa.
Yes.
No,
actually I wasn't. I was born in Mombasa.
Okay.
Yeah, my parents were in Mombasa at the time. But yeah, we moved back right after those exilees. Then you moved back after Museveni took over. But yeah,
Okay.
so 86 is when I moved back, 86 December.
Okay. And they were both in the hotel industry or still are?
No. My dad was, my mom was a nurse.
Was a nurse?
Yes, and my dad still is in hotel. My mom now is in hotel because my dad built many, so my mom's running a few. One actually, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
up
right.
country.
Did that ever rub off on you?
I tried, actually my first job was marketing for the hotel.
Oh, really?
Yeah, then my dad refused to give me salo, then yeah, we split ways.
But really?
He jumped, he said, I am feeding you, I am giving you food, what do you want money for?
Well, in a way, it's a good thing.
This relationship won't work.
Well, I guess he was thinking, you're going to learn from experience, family business,
I guess, yeah.
all of that.
I think I did it for
You
about
are
6
demanding
months.
for money.
I wanted cash because I'm running around looking for business for the hotel, Dolphin. What was Dolphin? What's Dolphin today? So yeah, I said, That's when you and I hooked up in radio.
I know.
Yeah.
So you had 4 siblings.
Yes.
4 siblings.
Yes.
Okay. And you are number what?
Number second last.
Second last.
Yeah.
Okay. So how was that? Were you like a crazy child? Were you as outspoken as you are now?
Yes, always have been.
Because you've always said, I tell it as it is.
Yeah, everybody goes right. Somehow you look for something left. I don't know what's there, but let's see. I don't know. No one knows, so let's go and see. So yeah, I've always been the out of the box kind of guy thinking, always.
Really?
Yeah, because my 2 brothers are in hotel. One's a chef, one's a complete hotel manager. Like just give him a hotel and tell him to work. He even ran this place for a while.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
He now has his own restaurant in Barara, doing very well. Has opened a second branch. So yeah, everybody sort of took dad's plans.
Okay.
I was here saying, but let's see what this place has.
Okay. And what about the other 2?
One's an accountant, and my other sister is a fashion designer.
Okay, so you've all kind of done your
Yeah,
own
just
thing
your own
apart
thing,
from
yeah.
the hotel
The 2, yeah.
industry. Okay, so were you, because you said you were outspoken right from back then. What about your siblings?
Most were actually, to be honest. I think
Is that how you were raised?
on the contrary, actually, were raised very, what's the word I'm looking for? So they don't disband me at home. Militant-ish.
Oh.
Not that he's a military man, but he was a very by-the-book guy.
Yeah, well,
And
if you're in the hospitality industry,
yeah,
everything has
unbelievably
to-
strict. Everything is to be planned, and you have to plan your life and plan, and everything is planned. And young boys growing up in the house, that's the one thing we didn't do: plan, which would piss him off. So all hell would break loose. Then we ran away. Then we come back. It was a mess.
When you say run away, like run away from home?
Yeah.
You ran away from home?
Yeah,
Like how many
all of us,
times?
all
It
of
sounds
us.
like it.
It was a norm. It's like, yeah, he's gone. Okay, he'll come back.
Where would you go?
Friend's place, aunties, on your own.
And then the coming back
Then
was, were you
eventually-
fetched or you came
Sometimes
back?
fetched, sometimes come back when life treats you the way it does.
What?
You find your way back. But yeah, sometimes you were chased from home because you did something dumb. Get out of here, useless. Because you had a simple rule. Once you're in my house, it's my rules or the highway. Simple. So when you feel you're bigger than him, you'd say, okay,
Okay.
let's not fight. You go.
The world is like...
The world is waiting for you and you'll experience it for yourself. And trust me, we did.
So do you remember how old you were the very first time you ran away from home?
The first time I didn't run away, I was chased.
Eh?
Yeah, proper chased with Jiboko. I think I was S4 VAC. Yeah, S4 VAC or S5 there. And I had stolen the car, and then I brought it back when I had knocked it. So see, my dad didn't have many questions. That we start losing our heads over it. No.
How long had you been stealing the car?
For a minute.
So you just...
For a while,
So
actually.
if you hadn't had the accident,
We would have been good.
how would you do that? Because I
How did
remember,
I get the accident, or how did I-
how would you steal the car? A friend of mine told me they used to roll the car out of the compound with the lights off. They'd push it out and down the road.
Darling, in our time, the rules were the same. Just because you're living comfortably in your own, you're living in a compound, so you pickpocket the keys from somewhere, you know where mother puts them or him. Then you come back. So yeah, I think I fell asleep on the steering wheel or something.
Oh,
And the car just rolled. Nothing, no one was injured, nothing. It was just a scratch.
Was it just you?
Yeah, just me. I dropped off everybody at the respective places in Bogolobi.
Oh.
So on the way
That in
back,
itself
I
is
was
a
tired.
problem.
I just fell asleep.
Oh,
So the car just rolled over. I put it back, drove it home, parked, tried to hide parked it near the wall on the side.
many dents.
The many dents, put them on there, said, get out of here. So yeah, that was the first time, but
Oh, that's not
for what
too
it's
bad.
worth, we're good now.
You're good now.
All the lessons were learnt, all of them. The ones he tried to teach the hard way.
Do you see a bit of yourself a bit of him in yourself now as a parent?
Yes. Trying to understand, and actually he got to a point where he used to tell me a saying in Kinyarwanda, "Uribu byaye," which means one day you'll have kids. At some point when he was done shouting and fighting, and one day you'll have kids. Everything that he used to say, including that statement, makes a lot of sense now. Now that I have kids. And he's like, because now he sees me running around, he's like, "Didn't I tell you?
Okay.
I used to tell you. You used to think it was a joke. Now here it is." You're
And you
running
have
through
boys too, right?
Two boys.
Two boys.
Yeah,
Okay.
running through the drama every day. They think they're smarter than you. They're telling you something like, "Yo, I've been there. I know exactly what you say, and it's a lie. Stop it." But yeah, I see a bit of the strictness, but because I'm aware of it, I try to calm down and try and have
Okay.
conversation.
Yeah.
Try. Again, it's
Try
trying.
and not talk at.
Not
but
talk at, but
to.
talk to and talk with. So it's a learning process. 11 and
challenge.
8, every day we learn. They haven't hit the teens yet, so I don't know what's going to happen then. But
Quite
anytime now.
interesting
Yeah,
when that comes.
I know. I know.
Okay, so in school,
Yes.
you said you were, even back then, quite outspoken. Were you active?
Yeah.
In clubs and sports and.
Yeah. If you know anything about Namasagali, you know that we were very art-based school, very heavy on the arts.
So you were in productions as well?
Yes. I did. So there would be a guy who was in charge of the play, because we do a lot of theatrical, but then there's a guy who makes sure that the music plays on time for every single dance routine or singing or miming or whatever. That was my job for 4 of the 6 years I was in Namasagali.
Okay.
From the time I was finishing my senior 2, I got into what we used to call Ministry of Entertainment. So I was an undersecretary from S3, permanent secretary in S4, minister S5, S6.
All right.
So I think in S4.
Because I remember it was so interesting. Namasagali was run like a
government.
country, like
Yes,
a government.
Yes. By the students, punished by one person, but you defend yourself to fellow students. I thought about it the other day, and it was downright genius.
It was because you had your judges, you had your reads,
Pure
you
genius.
had.
By students, the teacher's
Especially
job
since
was
you were really so far out
Exactly.
and
the teacher's job was just to teach. Period. They have no business disciplining. They have no business disciplinary. It's a code of conduct that's run by the students, adjudicated by the students, punishment given by the students based on your own, how you work on your own defense.
Yes, because you have to stand up.
Yes, but then the punishment was done by one person, not the students.
Yes,
it was done by Father Grimes. So entertainment sort of from that time just stuck with it.
So so it's just been a part of your
Yeah,
life.
it's
But before Namasagali?
No, more in maybe sports, maybe a lot of basketball, football, but not so much entertainment. That came in Namasagali. Kampala parents, yes.
Okay.
The old Kampala parents. It's important that they know this. The Kasole Kampala parents. Yeah.
Now you talk about the old Kampala parents. Then we talk about Namasagali. And
Yes.
a lot of people feel like, what it was is gone. Have you been back?
To
recently?
Namasagali?
Yeah.
We tried to put together something even with the Kabushenga and a couple of, even we went to see the speaker and just old people getting to, so we put together quite a bit of stuff. But the problem is it'll never be able to get back its glory because, like I said, that system was sadly the brainchild of one person.
Yeah.
So if he's not there, it's almost impossible to get that system back. It's now a government school, and
So they've reverted
they
right back.
reverted everything. It's we tried. I mean, we went to give them schools, balls, a lot of stuff, but can only do so much.
Speaking of Father Grimes, I recently had a conversation with about 4 ladies who were in Namasagali back in the day. And the punishments he used to give came up. And a lot of people have mixed feelings. Some of the ladies kind of either blocked out some of the punishments, or now they're looking at it like with open eyes. What's your take? For the record, some of the punishments were quite bizarre.
Yeah.
Being scrubbed down, being put in a bikini, being spanked.
The funny thing is, at the time,
bikini bottom being pulled between
always
your butt.
pulled up. Yeah, so what you call capintos. They put capintos, then they spank. At the time, the funny thing is, and this is most of them will agree with me, it didn't seem like it was weird at the time.
Yep.
Either because it was one guy doing it only, or because we didn't know any better. I don't know. But again, like most people, when you sit back and think in hindsight, you're like, hold on.
Like, this was not normal.
This guy was a bit, something wasn't right here. Yeah, I mean, I have questioned it in hindsight. But
Because
again,
I've had so many conversations and they're mixed feelings.
yes.
There's some people in complete denial, like, no, there was nothing wrong with it, but you still can't. And it's one of those things, because you have people, authority figures in life who can do stuff like that, and now we know better, right?
Yes, but you see, the funny thing is this. If you're to think about it in terms of you thinking that maybe there was a sexual connotation to it, if it was subtle to the point that it didn't feel evasive.
Okay.
Because maybe, for whatever reason, the fetish was he wanted to see the body in that format.
Come on.
And
Young girls in bikinis.
But that's it. He never ever got intrusive. He never got suggestive. He never got, you stay in for an extra hour. And I see how now even if this leotard can get off. It never crossed a line. He says the punishment is this. You knew it before you came in here.
Okay.
You knew it when you were breaking the law. That this is how it is punished.
But that was for the girls.
Yes, for the girls.
For the guys, never anything
For the
like
guys,
that?
it was chiboko.
Okay.
Old school chiboko.
Plain and simple.
Plain old school chiboko.
Like of a sweat.
Yeah. Of and I think the guy used to work out his one hand. Because I think chiboko would come and I think it was on Wednesdays and Thursdays. I think that's the days from the gym. Gives you. Wow. So yeah, I mean, in hindsight we can say maybe in today's world those things would not have been permissible for whatever reason, but a part of it, in my opinion, would be stretching if you're really looking for something to blame or someone to point a finger to. But in all fairness, okay, let's assume it was a fetish. It's a fetish. I like looking at naked women. That's it.
But you see, if it were your daughter, would it be okay?
It sips tea.
Anyway, now we know better. Now we
do know better, yes,
So
much
did you ever take any of those excursions? People would go out to drink the local
Of
brew.
course. Standard. Are you kidding me? How can you say?
Your sons are going to watch this.
Come on, you have to do those things. But you do, and you do them because, one, you want to see for yourself. Two, you want to understand, but what's there? The curiosity mind of a young teenager, it's, some can be
Or just even
cushioned.
a child, because you do things and you don't even know why.
Yeah, and like, okay, so why did I do that? But you see, you wouldn't know unless you did it. So you go, then you realize, okay, that was not worth it at all. Never doing it again. So yeah, we did it a couple of times. But eventually realize, okay, done it.
Moving
Has
on
not
now.
added any value to my life whatsoever, apart from ticking a box, which in hindsight could have remained unticked and nothing would have changed. But yeah, so yeah, we did a couple of those.
So do you feel like Namasagali really shaped you and set you on the path for, you
Yes, tremendously.
know, yeah?
I think Namasagali and India, the combination of those two, it either completely breaks you or makes you.
Were you one of the, it seems like there were first group of students who went to India back in the day.
I was like in the third batch of that group you're talking about. Yeah.
Where you
There's-
go to India and it's just another world
Oh.
altogether.
I do not know how to say this, but one day I'll write a book.
You read a book.
One good day I'll write a book about my experience in India, my 4 years in India.
So when you landed in India, coming from Uganda, you're like, okay, what were you expecting? Had you been prepared?
No, nobody prepares you for these things.
Where did you go exactly? Which university?
I went to northern India to a state called Bhopal,
Okay.
and that's because when I sent out applications for uni, because remember I came to work, we worked together first.
Yes.
So I worked at Sanyu right after high school. So after about 2 years at Sanyu is when I realized, okay, fine, maybe now I go join, I do educate myself. Actually, then I went to Radio 1, then India. But I think-
Kudos on going back. On actually going through.
I said it made me important to
school.
educate myself, surely.
Might be.
Might be. You never know. So I sent out applications to Kenya, South Africa, US, and India. India got back within 3 days and said the place is available. It was a quarter the cost of everybody else. So of course my folks were like, go. Did the paperwork, da-da-da. So there was no, because everything was done so quickly, there was no time to really make phone calls and da-da-da, because I had a friend who was there, and then she did everything. Just said, yeah, there are very many Ugandans here, just come.
Okay.
You will feel right at home. Everybody you know is here. She mentioned like 10 guys I knew. I'm coming.
Okay.
So quickly, so you don't leave here with any kind of expectations. I didn't make a phone call to find out. So is it cold? Is it hot? What's the university like? I just jumped on a plane and went. It was me and Bidna. We left here together. Same university, sleeping in the same house. So we get there and you jump out of the airport. In the airport, everything is nice and neat. Of course, you jump out and there's this humidity smell
That just embraces you.
that just says welcome.
The smell.
Oh, it's a hot, bad smell.
A hot smell.
Yes, hot, bad, humid, bad smell.
Okay.
And then there's like a million people in a cubicle. I want you to put that image in your mind of a million people in a cubicle, but then that's the whole space. That's the whole area. It's just everybody is moving, fighting, screaming, pushing. You know, it's like a bad concert. Oh God. And you're like, hold on, what the hell have I just got myself into? And then the one thing someone has warned you about is like, there's a guy we're sending to you, don't jump on don't listen to anyone else.
Don't go with
Anybody else. So from the international airport, you need to jump into a bus to the local airport that then takes you to where you're going to land and blah. Where?
What?
Hey.
What an experience.
So yeah, then I spent 1 year in that university where I learned that when you go to class, it's almost a waste of time, because the Indian students who you're sharing a class with at some point are going to ask a question, and for the teacher to explain it, he's going to explain it in Hindi. I'm telling you. So she has asked the question, so the guy's going to say, Areya, I said, Kapish, you understand that? Then he goes, then he forgets that the rest of us black people are in the class, and he continues the rest of the class in Hindi. So you make a conscious decision to not go back to class. You just get your syllabus for the semester. On occasion, you go for coaching for the other things, cost accounting, financial accounting, because those ones of numbers, you need somebody to guide you. The rest.
I heard that a lot. People didn't go to class.
What?
That's why.
There was no point. The guys switched midway. So after 1 year, I went for a birthday party down south in Bangalore.
Okay.
For some, Rwanda had a very big exchange program with India at the time. So they would send about 2,000 people in Rwanda. Majority of them were females.
Selling point.
So one of them invited us for a birthday party, and Bangalore is a city. It's a proper town. People speak English. People are dressed normally, not in saris. The weather is decent. It's like Kampala. I went for a birthday party and I called my folks. I said, I'm not going back up there. They said, but have you tried to make sure that they transfer your credits for the 1 year? I said, even if they don't, I'll start afresh.
What?
Hey, you sit there, you.
And they were okay with that? I'm sure there must have been some back and forth.
There was back and forth, of course, but I said, look, you guys don't understand. I'm the one dealing with this monkey here. I've found the university. It is only $200 more.
This is where I'm going.
This is it.
And you were able to transfer?
Yeah. No, but I lost the year. That's why I ended up spending 4 years. Because now it's sort of fresh.
Did you start doing mass communication or did you switch at some point?
Now, here's the funny thing. In Bhopal, they technically didn't have a mass comm class.
Okay.
So I was doing economics, but then they said in your third year, you can have a slight major in communications when you're finishing. So that's what I was going to do. But when I came here, I found mass comm. I found an organized town with better weather.
Better women.
Rwandese girls. More decent looking people. Like there was no box that didn't tick yes. Besides, losing an extra year and having to spend an extra year in India. Tough luck, but
it was worth it.
5 years here is better than 2 years there, any day.
Okay. So after your 4 years, you came back?
Done.
Okay, but now, rewind. I take you back to how you got on radio. Because it's been, 20 years for you?
Yeah.
20 years?
Did you beat me there? Did I beat you there?
No, you were there before me.
I was there before you. Okay. So like I said, Namasagali is where we used to do our thing. So one of the times, right after the final production of S6, we brought it to the National Theatre. And because I was the guy playing the music, every time before you do a concert, you ask people to stand up for the national anthem.
Okay.
So that was my job. Could you please stand up for the national anthem? In the audience, there was a lady who was the program's controller of Sanyo, Marion Etienne. Remember her? Who is now Marion Businje. And so someone said at the end of the concert, said, hey, but you have a nice voice. And Marion was there. Maybe you should go see her. I said, but I don't know who Marion is. He said, I know somebody who knows her. So I said, okay. So they introduced me to that other person. Turns out I knew that other person very well. So they says, yeah, Marion. So Marion sent me to, I think it was John Wilkins at the time, was actual program controller.
Yes.
And John Wilkins said, get in studio, gave me a script to read. I read it. He said, start training tomorrow. As they say, the rest is history.
But
so they gave me the Friday night show and the Saturday night dance show.
You started on Friday and Saturday?
Yes, Friday and Saturday.
Then you moved to Radio 1?
Then I moved to Radio 1 to do mid-morning.
Yes, but you came back to Sanyo?
Then I came back
that's
to
when
Sanyo.
we worked together?
Yes, and I came back to Sanyo. Then after Sanyo is when I went back to that's when I went to India.
But you worked on radio in 3 different countries.
Yes.
So it's one of those things. Do you feel like radio has been calling you all your life? You tried to leave and it just pulls you right back?
You have no idea. When I left, after I finished my undergrad and I said, okay, fine, I'm done with radio. I'm going to do something else with my life. So I finished, I'm back from India. I'm now saying, okay, now let's see what to do. I spent 3 days. The first day was meeting guests. The second day was meeting family. The third day was hanging out, like I went to the club. Somebody who I used to work with went and immediately told Maria Chiwanuka that the other Chiga is back.
You're lying.
3
days.
3 days. I shit you not. 3 days. Let's assume it was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. By the next Monday, I was back at Radio 1. Maria called me and said, why are you walking around with a brown envelope trying to find work? There's work here. Come. Don't suffer. Kampala is hard. You're going to go, they're going to give you very bad money, very bad hours, mean bosses. Come and work. That's when you think about it, you're like, she does make a point. Minimal hours. You already know what you're doing. It's music and talking. Why am I suffering? Right
Why
back.
do I work?
Why am I suffering looking for a 9 to 5 where you have to wear a suit and guys shout at you because your shoes aren't polished? Yeah, no one cares. Are you saying the right thing the way we want to hear them? Yeah.
You can come out with your toes
Come
free.
back the way you want even if you have not showered. So yeah, right back into radio. That's when I realized, okay, maybe I stopped fighting this thing too much. But then I did quit after that.
Yeah, how long were you at Radio 1 then?
I think about a year.
Okay.
Then I entered the hustle of Kampala.
Do you remember why you quit?
That's why I wanted to experience something else. Because you can imagine.
Did you feel like you were missing out on the corporate?
Yeah, like I needed.
World.
I kept seeing these MTN guys and I'm like, these guys are really blasting. Their cars, they are boasting, hey, they have money, they're always buying me pints. I said, but no, there must be another Kampala that I'm not seeing. So I quit. We entered the hustle things of Kampala. What do? What do you want? You know those things of Kampala guys. So I did that for a bit. Then Rwanda came calling.
So you quit just to do your own thing?
Just to do my own thing and see Kampala.
Okay.
Then Rwanda said, they're launching a private radio station. The guy wants to talk to you. And they want you to come and run the station as program director.
Okay. But not on air, just program director?
No, just not on air. Like he says, I want somebody to run the show.
Okay.
I said, okay. But it was very sensitive because it was the first private radio station post-genocide. So it was one of those things where you are vetted by the president himself.
Oh.
Because they hadn't given anybody that license, and the guy who got the license needed to make sure that, like, the programming had to be vetted. You don't just come and start doing what you want. Who are you employing? What are they saying? What music are you playing? All of that stuff. So I like that because now that was a challenge. Okay. And it also gave me a chance to learn the history of Rwanda and appreciate what they had been through. So yeah, so I did that.
You'd never been before?
I had, but to visit. To visit. And seeing as I'm partly Rwandese, it was important for me. Yes. So then I appreciate it better. Okay. So that radio station, because of the economy of Rwanda, didn't make as much money.
Okay.
So the boss said we need to cut off everybody's pay because we can't sustain the business. And at that time, that didn't make sense to me because I said, my job is programming. There's someone else's job who is commercial. If they're not doing their job, that's not on me.
They're not selling the product.
If they're not selling the product. The product's good to go. That's not on me.
Okay.
So we failed to agree. So I resigned.
But you stayed in Rwanda?
I stayed in Rwanda because the day someone heard that I resigned, 2 days later, a guy was launching another radio station. He gave me the same job with the same pay. So I stayed and opened his radio station.
It seems to be a history of people coming to you.
They just cut, and it gets worse because I'm in Rwanda now, busy setting up this second guy's radio station, and I know very well because I'm telling him I can't do the same thing I did for that guy. Yeah. So we need to target someone else. So we're targeting a whole different market audience. Blah 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 blah. Minding my own business in my office, doing my thing. I get a phone call. On the other side of the line is a very important man in Kenya, by the names of Chris Kirubi, Dr. Chris Kirubi. He's on my phone. Do you know who I am? Nope. Our name is, he used to call himself DJ CK. DJ CK, you don't know me. I said, no, I don't. Now I'm torn between, this guy sounds really old, but he's calling himself a DJ. So do I talk to you like a DJ or do I give you the respect of the age in which your voice sounds? I'm torn. How can I help you? Because I'm in the middle of 1 million things. How can I help you? I've told you a very good radio. Can you be on a plane to Kenya in the morning? So I said, oh, no, I can't. I'm sorry. And I hung up. So about 10 minutes later, Capital FM, they are looking for a male host to do their drive show, blah, 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 blah. He needs to see you and needs to see you now.
So you just get your butt on
Find
a plane.
They just say what time you're available. There'll be a ticket bought. You will come to Nairobi, meet the guy. If you don't like the offer, you come back and stay in your Rwanda. I'm like, meeting only. Only meeting.
That can't hurt, right?
Eating can't kill anyone. So I just told my boss I have something to do in Kenya, I need 2 days. He said, okay, top, Kenya, met. Of course, you know the Kenyans pay way better than everybody else. So when you look at the package, you're like, and you're knowing very well that this is a way more developed market in this thing.
Yeah.
So you're like, if I can make it here, I can make it anywhere. So I took that up as my new challenge.
Okay.
So I said I need a month so that I can go and hand over properly. They find someone else. We try that. I don't want to burn bridges.
Yes.
So finish that. And a month later, I was in Kenya. Just like
Capital
that.
FM on the drive.
Capital FM on the drive.
Who did you work with at that time?
I started the show with a lady called Ses Mutungi. Then I ended up with a Tanzanian guy called Leo. And we did the show together for 3.5 years. Good
3.5
run.
years, huh?
Very
Good
good run.
What do you
Excellent
remember the most? What is your
Oh,
highlight?
what-
When you say good run, I mean you've worked in so many different places. Why does that stand out?
First of all, the market, I think, needed something like that. I don't know, because he's Tanzanian, I'm Ugandan, on Kenyan prime time radio. So I think for the Kenyan audience, that was fresh.
Okay.
So they really, really appreciated us. And we had about 2 other producers who were helping us understand the Kenyan market completely. So would take in the Kenyan market, give it the Ugandan, Tanzanian touch, and it was very refreshing for,
So you had
for the
an East
listeners.
African product.
Absolutely. It was, and that's where we started this whole prank calls and everything. And oh yeah, it's like I said, it was a good run. Kenya, I'll be lying to you if I said Kenya was bad to me.
Okay.
Kenya was very good to me.
So how long were you in Kenya? Because you moved to another station
2 other stations.
in Kenya. Please don't tell me again it was a phone call.
No. The first Capital and Kirubi and I broke off badly.
Oh.
Yeah, I wanted to start an events company. He didn't want it to happen. It's a long, complicated story. But anyway, so that was a bad breakup. But because I had made such a good name for myself, it was easy to get another job in no time. So I went to join Kwaku in his station there,
Okay.
which is classic. And then the third one now, Nation, which is Nation Media Group, they're the ones, they were trying to rebuild their new radio station, and then they wanted someone for breakfast, so they came and took me from there.
Okay.
And yeah, after that I realized enough
So
is
you
enough. It
were
was time
in
to go
Kenya
home.
for quite a few years.
Yes, about 9 and a half years.
Okay.
9.5 years.
So is that when you met your first wife?
Yes.
Okay.
My first wife was my boss.
Was your boss?
Yes. I know.
Okay.
It's a very interesting story.
So how long did you have to hide it?
Yeah.
Okay. It couldn't have been easy.
No. One of the reasons why Kirubi and I broke off, that was part of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's still there. She's now the MD,
Okay.
the same radio
Of the
station. She's
company.
doing well, yeah.
Okay. And how long were you married?
2007.
You got married in Kigali.
No, in Kampala, in Entebbe.
Here. Okay.
Yeah, in Uganda. So 2008 to 2013.
So you're divorced because you just remarried. You know, it's interesting when you talk about divorce or relationships that don't work out. Normally you hear that from the women. You always hear about the women, you know. Some people say divorce is almost like losing a loved one. But you rarely hear about the men. Like, I mean, how did you deal with the breakup?
Look, there's no... During the whole divorce process, there's no upside. Divorce is bad, especially where there are kids involved. So dealing with it requires a lot of self-reflection, understanding, having a lot of time to get to the core of the problem, because sometimes you do it because you think it's the right thing to do. You haven't had an honest conversation with yourself. It's a lot easier more often than not to blame the other party because you want to feel good about yourself. But if you have an honest conversation with yourself and say, okay, I messed up here, here, and here. Okay. Is it something that you're willing to work on? for yourself, not for that person.
Yes.
If the answer to that is yes, you're on the right path to getting over that whole process. Because then you, like I said, especially where they're kids, you become a better person, which will then reflect to better father, better friend,
Wow.
better human.
That's like going through
No, you have to.
the muck to come out on the
just
other
you have
side.
to get out. Because if you don't, and most people do it quickly and rushed without understanding, how did we get here? What were the causes? Openly telling yourself. Because the open discussion is the hardest.
Yes.
And I think if you can, some people need to go through therapy to do that, see a shrink, talk to a friend or whatever. But if you're comfortable enough and man enough to say, that's on you, hon. That's on you. Don't point any finger there. That's you. Okay. Finish, and then it's easier even to move on thereafter. So, but the process, that's rough. And then you have to decide, okay, so what do you tell the kids?
Did you sit them down together? Did you speak to them?
It took a while. You see, the good thing for me is the divorce didn't happen until I'd already moved to Uganda. So by the time I moved to Uganda, we're still married. Having our own issues, but issues are part of these things.
Was the move also part of the reason maybe?
For me, yes.
Okay.
I had not mentioned this to her at the time, but I knew that if there's any moment in this life that this relationship is remotely salvageable, I need to first breathe. Because at that point, there's too much clashing, too much opinionated people in a household, banging heads left, right, and center. I realized that, this one won't work. So that was, but also because I had already made a conscious decision that it was time to move back home. I knew that I'd spent way too much time out of Uganda since 2000, I think, and 4 at the time. So there was an excess of 12, 14 years out.
Yeah.
Rwanda, Kenya inclusive into one. It was about 14 years out of the country. I said, it's time. I've done my part. I've picked whatever talents I can pick. It's time to move back. And I had had the discussion with her and said, let's consider moving back to Uganda.
But she
wasn't having it. So, and I said, okay, fine, fair enough. Maybe I go and we try this long distance thing. But also I knew I needed time to breathe.
Yeah.
So we went, and for the most part, because the kids knew dad is working in Uganda, mom is here, that's not a biggie.
Okay.
So they don't know anything is going on. So by the time the whole discussion of this isn't working for us is happening, we managed to keep it away from them for a while through the whole paperwork and legal and everything. It's not.
And they kind of adjusted to
they kind of
life
adjust to
with you
this. So they know that holidays are spent here with dad, school days are there with mom.
Is that still the arrangement now?
For now, but they will move next year here.
Okay.
So at the point when you need to have the discussion, one, they're slightly older. Two, the animosity between the parents is long gone because we've both had time to cool off, calm down, and we're both friends now. So we speak a lot more, we're joking half the time. So for them, they don't see any beef, which is what's important to them. So by the time you're having that discussion, it's a slightly more sober conversation from their perspective of what they see and your mental preparedness to have that conversation. Because if I'd had it then, I would have just said bad things. If they go and ask the mother, she says bad things, then they are lost.
Because you're both angry, you're both bitter.
So now we're having that conversation sober. You're like, look, there's some grown-ups, things happen. We don't disagree with whatever, but make no mistake about this. We both love you. The usual. Have the conversation, and they're like, okay.
All right.
Even explain that, because she has another child. I said, so that's your brother.
Okay.
Treat him as such. He is your brother. Love him and protect him as always. And this is your other mom. They're like, okay. That's what we're doing? Let's do this.
Let's do this. I love it.
So they're like, okay, not a problem.
So when you came back to Uganda, did you just choose to come back or was there a job offer again waiting for you?
To be honest, I chose to come back.
Okay.
No offer on the table. I just wanted to see what was up. And then Capital said, okay, you come, we see.
You did a couple of years?
Yep. 5
then
to
you
be exact.
retired.
I did. Crystal, I retired.
Sounds more like a pause button.
I am not lying to you. I retired, and I know that with the way everything has played out, it seems like this was all part of the game and the plan. But I guarantee you, I genuinely retired.
No.
I had a lot on my plate.
Because you were a brand ambassador.
Yes, still am.
Still are for Johnny Walker.
For Johnny Walker.
You have an events company.
I have an events company.
Okay.
I had bought shares into Gabiro Bar.
Yes.
I have a coffee business.
Yes.
Imara Coffee.
Imara.
So, and I was chasing a lot of things.
When do you sleep?
You know, so I said, you know what? I can't do radio anymore. I can't, because I said I promised capital. If I'm ever going to do it, it's not going to be here. He says, before we talk about the other guys, let me explain to you what we are doing.
Okay.
So when he explained to me the vision for this radio station and how it was going to be different from what we knew as radio, that caught my eye. I said, okay, fine. If I am going to get back and it's going to be something revolutionary, that I can think about. But the big but for me was, I'm not coming on air just for on air. No. If I'm coming, it's my show. I run it the way I think is best, and use it as the.
So you're fully invested as well.
Yes, because there I can fully impact everything I know about radio to the younger generation and be part of this so-called revolution. Because I do think it is. I honestly believe it's going to change how we consume radio.
Because for the longest time, that was, if anything, that was like the glam. It was. You had no idea what was really going on in the studio. So you could imagine everything.
It was the theater of the mind. Now,
and then
some
of us changed it.
Yes.
Started bringing what actually happened.
Exactly. So you started it. There are others who have been doing it. But you know, and you guys did it where you had the chance to edit it so that you see only the good stuff. Now we're saying we're bringing it raw. Every time the mic goes up, you see what's up. So if you can imagine,
bad hair day and all.
Yeah, you know, bad hair day, the works. You had a fight with the patch eye. Come with your shades. They're going to stay on the whole day. You have to explain to us why you have shades. So that kind of radio consumption for me was intriguing.
Okay.
And I said, okay, this is different. This is not what I'm used to. It's not what my 20 years of radio knows. So part of me will also be learning and growing better and different ways to sell this to the clients, something bit different for them to consume as a client, and say that I can just simply put a product in studio, and that's advertising. I don't need to run a spot ad.
True.
So if that is how we're going to look at it differently, I said this I can be a part of.
And also you'd started doing TV as well.
Yes, and I'd been finally broken into break the lens, so to speak. So.
But you did like 2 shows before Another Round. Because I know you did a Stanbic.
Yes, I did a Stanbic schools thing. Then I'd done a basketball thing with Zuku. But none of them gave me the freedom of Another Round. The other things were too structured. Don't do this, don't do that.
Like formal TV.
Yeah, formal TV. Typical, good evening viewers. Today is the day. So when we're comfortable here, we're like this, we're talking. This is the TV that I can be a part of, which is the same as radio because I don't even know the cameras are there.
Yeah.
And which is what I tell all the presenters, ignore them, be you.
Just do your thing.
Just do your thing. And that's what the viewer or the listener wants to be a part of. So, yeah, that was now something that can get me out of retirement. So, here we are.
Okay, so Another Round.
Yes.
How did you put that concept together? Was it yours? Was it someone else? Because I think for many people who watch Another Round, they're just like, these guys are having too much fun. No, it's not fair. You can't be blasting and having a beer while you're on TV.
So the concept, okay, first of all, same thing. Ken had been asking me, I have a TV station. Just come, do what you want. It's there. So I told the guy, boss, me, I'm not a TV guy. I don't know anything about TV. But in the back of my mind, I always thought, every time, and this doesn't have to be guys, it could be girls, it could be old people, it could be a group of people, you and your girlfriends, out on a night out. The amount of laughter, fun, and honesty that is there. I keep asking myself, I always used to ask myself, imagine if we had a camera and a mic here.
And you could share that.
This is unbelievable TV. This is what reality TV normally is meant to be. But just imagine if they didn't know the mic was there. So that was the idea I had in my mind. I said, okay, if we just go to a bar and just get buddies and bank kabozi. Anything, because that's what bar conversation is about. You move from sports in 1 second, you're to charenga, you are in 30, you are fighting with the muntu, the next thing you are laughing at a girl's bums.
That's good
Big
stuff.
and fast. And, yeah.
So when you look back now, a lot of the choices you've made, the moves you've made, one country, another country, do you have any regrets? Since you said, you know, you've had some honest conversations with yourself.
No, I don't. And here's why. I am an optimist by nature. And the reason I choose to be an optimist is because I believe the world is rough already
Okay.
for you to also be a pessimist. So whichever situation I am with or I am faced or is around me, I find a way to find the positive.
So you always look for the silver lining.
Always. Always.
Okay.
It is a rule I live by. And anybody who has been with me in tough situations will tell you, that guy is not normal. Be like, okay, so first order of business is to, how do we move on from this? Then I will sit back with myself later and say, what did I pick from that? What was the learning? And as long as you can be able to be clear about the learning that was in that bad situation and try and make sure either A, doesn't happen again, or B, you become a better person because of it, or C, you learn how to deal
But some
with
people say, you know, yes, you always look for the lessons, but some of the lessons are hard.
Yes, and the harder the better, the more memorable. So again, it's those honest conversations that you ask yourself when you're like, okay, so I can tell you for a fact my divorce was rough, but I think it has made me a better man. I'm a better husband today, I'm a better father today, I'm a better friend to my ex-wife.
What did you learn about yourself? Because
That it's not
for people who get divorced, there are two kinds. So the people who say, I'm never going back
I was
down
that
there
guy.
again.
I was that guy.
Actually, you did tell me you would never get
I
married
did
again.
tell you that, yes. Yeah.
Or the other people who jump immediately into another relationship, like really, really quick. So what changed your mind?
One, the person I met. But like I said, once the conversations you've had with yourself are clear, and the biggest learning for me was, it's not about me. At least not always.
Okay. So clearly that was the thing before.
Yeah, at some point you're like, but me, I don't want to. So what? I know you don't want to, but do you realize that around you now there's a lot more than meets the eye? And then once you realize that it's not about you, and that even there are the times when you do think it's about you, you put to account all the things you have done that were not about you. You have a scorebook. But the other day I did this, and I didn't want to. The moment you start keeping scorecard, that's the beginning of the end. Do it because it's the right thing to do. Don't keep track of, but then I did. Then at some point, when you start getting to PTO, of that page is finished, now you're finishing the second page, then you're going to emotionally think that I'm the one doing too much.
And you're not keeping score of what the other person's
Exactly, because it was about you. So if she was to keep track, you'd be amazed. She's done 4 pages. You have just got 4 lines and you think the world should stop. Like, shut up already. So once you realize that, look, it's a give and take, and it's give and take unconditionally. You do it because you want to, period.
Okay.
And this is to everything around you. If you don't want to do it, say from the beginning, that I will not do. If this can work with you, then we go ahead. If it can't, then we'll have a problem. I also learned that the biggest mistake our generation made is going in based on cosmetics and not understanding each other's expectations. And I think not knowing expectations is a very bad place to be, because you go in with a very blank idea of what this union is about. But you see, it's blank in the middle, But in your list, it's full. In her list, it's full.
But you haven't brought
But you haven't
it
brought them together. Here, it's blank. So you're hoping she will fill your list, which is in your head. The reverse is true. But when it comes to feeling, you're like, but this is not who I am. This is not what. Then you realize when both of you have filled this thing, it is nowhere near both of you. Then here this one starts. So again, it's learning. It's a learning process.
It's a learning process. You know, as women, you normally have your girlfriends. You're able to vent. You're able to talk to.
And most guys, we don't.
Yeah.
Most guys, you feed them. Soja.
So.
Just say, my dad, leave me.
I mean, have you ever had like a conversation like with your dad?
Never.
Never? Like said.
Not about that.
I mean, like something you're going through and you need.
I have had one with my mom. I think at one time when we were fighting, my mom and my aunt pulled me aside and pulled us aside and said, you know, these things are never easy. We understand. You think us we have been here for all this time. You think it's been easy. It's not. Blah, 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 blah. And yes, the takeout from that was the fact that you have to fight through it. But nobody sits back to understand it. Fight through it, but nobody underlines it and say, what is it? And what you are fighting through, is it the same thing I'm fighting through? No. So that it is a gray area. And because it varies, you're like, you don't understand. It was not your generation. As we're fighting other things. You go back to the same problems you are in. So, I mean, like I said, I don't want, I choose not to have regrets. I choose to take the lessons and be a better person.
And pick out the best from
And pick out the best from it, however bad it is.
I mean, all these things, as a new wife, do you make time for her? Or is she very busy too?
Well, she's also busy, but for now, we have found a way. And again, remember the expectation discussion? All these things were discussed before.
You laid your cards on the
laid
table?
the cards on the table and said, so? And she's very sober-headed. She's like, oh, let's see. When the time comes and we need to make a decision, and if we need to let go of one thing, we'll do it. But for now, you seem to be managing, so let's keep going.
I must say, your wedding looked very beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
You decided to, did you have two ceremonies? One here and then one
away? We did the AG's office here, which was, the legal part. Then...
But you had a reception with that too?
No, not really. We just went for lunch.
Okay.
Just meet best man, maid of honor. Right after finishing the registrar's office, went for lunch. That was it.
Well, thank you so much for coming on
Thanks
the show.
for having me. Thank you so much.
Your final advice.
And this is probably based on what I see in Uganda today. So this would be based on moving forward as a Ugandan. So if you're not Ugandan, this doesn't affect you, then fair enough.
Okay.
But as a Ugandan, I get the feeling that we have a lot of, especially with the young generation, Ugandans generally are happy people. We're very happy-go-lucky people. We like to have a good time. We like to smile. Everyone who meets a Ugandan will tell you we're the warmest people ever.
Yes.
But I get the feeling that of late we're turning slightly violent and angry. And I don't know why. So the only thing I can ask of Ugandans is anger only begets anger.
Violence begets violence.
There's no upside to that trajectory. None whatsoever. So if we can just remember who we are as a people, and maybe the only way to do that is, again, find the positive in everything, I think we'll live a much happier life. I think.
Okay.
Because I see a lot of angry people and I'm like, hey chief, it's not that serious, imagine. Like smile, like laugh, like, okay, let me buy you a drink. Chill. It's not that serious.
Okay.
Whatever it is that's pissing you off will be gone tomorrow. You will still be here having to manage and look after yourself and live your life. So
Smile.
I was with you.